I'll go back into YouTube and edit it. So yeah, we're doing really well, Lydia, with our viewers and our downloads. Yay! All right, we're going live, everybody. We're getting there. Where's my glasses? Here we go. Okay, fantastic. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, both Lydia, my co-host, and Lydia, my guest speaker. Great to see everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so here we are. We're on, it's kind of one of my, Jessica got a little confused. She's like, with my podcast post, she's like, wait a minute, what part is this? Is this part 2 of what? It should be part 4. But welcome back to a similar podcast to our series, the Divinity of Horses, with Lady Apona, aka Lidia Kuleshnyk. Kuleshnyk? Did I say it correct?
Almost. Kuleshnyk.
Kuleshnyk. Dang it.
It's good. Okay. It's all good.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
All good.
All right. Welcome back to, yes, this is a continuation of the Divinity of Horses, but I'm going to be adding a little different twist today, similar but different, and bringing back Do the Tao Now and Become One with Your Horse Part 2. So that's where Lydia and I are going to be able to merge our practices, the similarities of what we practice and teach, and expand on it for all of you. So this is really exciting. Before we get in, Lydia, you have a major announcement. Congratulations on being a best-selling author. So please tell everyone about your book that just got published and released.
Oh, well, thank you for all your support. The book itself is called Evolving on Purpose, Co-Creating with the Divine. And my chapter is The Divinity of Horses. And it's a wonderful book for personal development, for connecting with your intuition. So anybody who's on a path of personal growth, of wanting to connect with your inner knowing, with messages from the spirit world, with your intuition, then there are over 20 amazing authors that are sharing their insights and their tools. And I'm honored to be one of them. So again, thank everyone for their support. And the ebook is out, and the paperback is coming out end of the month or end of October in the next few weeks. So we'd appreciate it if you enjoy the book to post a review on Amazon, because our mission is to share the message that horses are divine spiritual beings who have come here as healers to help us heal, grow, and evolve. And we want to help shift the collective consciousness to honor horses in that way. And in so doing, we will help heal ourselves and heal the planet and save and of course, honor horses.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Amen. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh, we are so blessed to know each other and to be on this journey together, all of us, all the like mind, the whole community, to support the way we feel about horses. We just got a new follower to the channel that commented yesterday on, she just saw, I think she was on part 2 or part 3 of our series, The Divinity of Horses, in our podcast. And she was so excited. Oh, that's my phone.
Thank you, Caroline, for bringing us all together. You're our queen of the equines. You're the
queen of the equines. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Well, I love bringing it all together and sharing anything to do to help the plight of the horses and to help us as well. I really, gosh, the horses, that just blows my mind. But we are getting better. I think we all know we're getting better. We were just talking about that before we went live, just universally, culturally, we're all thinking more about the horse as a sentient being, not just saying the words, but really understanding the horse on an emotional, physiological, mental, spiritual level, and physical level. Holy cow. Anyway, all right. So today, do the Tao now and become one with your horse. What the heck does that mean? Well, you're all familiar with my company name, the Tao of Horsemanship. And for all of you that aren't aware, the Tao of Horsemanship was my original company name that I created back in 2008 when I first became incorporated. So real quick long story, I got back into horses in my mid to late 30s. And I spent about 2 years studying and traveling and educating myself when I got back into horses. So fast forward to probably around the age of 40, I'm 55 now. I started my own business. I was married to someone different than my current husband, my first marriage, and the last name was Ryder. So the first company name was Ryder Horsemanship. And I specifically took that because I was Caroline Ryder back then. And you'll see some of that stuff pop up throughout the internet. But I took kept that last name and made Ryder Horsemanship because I was also becoming a budding clinician. And I thought, wow, Ryder Horsemanship would be such an easier name to work with than Tao of Horsemanship. But the Tao has always been the umbrella company because it is the essence of who I am. Like everything I think and create and feel comes from my Taoist, Buddhist, spiritual practices and belief system. And that's something that I started when I was a teenager. So it's not something new to me. So when I got back into horses, I wanted to provide a way for myself and the horses and anyone that was interested in learning a way of being and doing with the horses that I had learned personally through my spiritual practice as a Taoist and through my personal experience having a backyard horse growing up. I was fortunate. And so that was my journey back into horses. And, fast forwarding to today and the work that I do, I can't say that the work definitely is always evolving as I believe I am. And we hopefully we all are growing and evolving. So it's gotten easier for me to clarify, what it is that I do and talk about it. I think I articulate it a lot better than I used to a long time ago. But I don't know, Lydia, was it last summer? We did a podcast on Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's no longer here with us. He passed away so many years ago, but Do the Tao Now. And he had become a Taoist himself later in life, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he also is very well known for his famous quote, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So I think it was a psychotherapist or psychiatrist most of his life. And then he became a practicing Taoist, and then he wrote a couple of books. And do you remember the title of that particular book that he wrote that we did that book review on, I think last summer?
Was it Do the Tao Now?
Yeah, but it was something else. It was Do the Tao Now, but then he had something else after the title. And we did a podcast about the book because it was so powerful. We
did a bunch of them. We went through the book.
Yeah. We went through the book and highlighted the things that meant a lot to us and in our equine journey. So I'm kind of pulling all that together in today's podcast. And for me, and I'll be releasing all of this information when we are doing the big launch coming up next month in October of the rebranding of the Tao. The Tao Horsemanship is still the Tao, but now it's become the Academy. It's growing, it's getting bigger. And I will, the webpage will change about the main program that I offer on how to teach all of this with your horses and your horsemanship. But it's really important to me to step into this space or this place always when I am with the horse, whether the horse is new to me or they're my very own horses. Where do I come from? Where am I coming from? What does it feel like inside of my head space? What does it feel like inside of my heart space? What does it feel like inside my body? So it starts with us tuning in. And Lydia, our guest speaker, has carte blanche. I mean, you have all the, just chime in whenever you want and say anything that comes to mind that, can expand on any of this, because I can keep rambling. Everybody knows that about me.
Well, I'll just make one comment on what you're
Yes.
saying. Is that what I'm hearing you say right now is that when we're with our horses, when we go to our horses, it's an opportunity for us to pause
Mhm.
and connect with ourselves.
Yes, it should be.
So there's an incredible world of opportunity in a variety of ways to be with our horses and learn and grow. But the first step is what you're saying, is to become connected with ourselves, or what I like to say, the three main steps in transformation and growth are being centered in your core energy, connected to your essence, your power, and conscious.
Yeah.
Not just what you're thinking or saying or doing, but of your beliefs, and the cause and effect that you're creating in your life. So I just want to contribute to that being with horses or visiting horses is an incredible opportunity for us to pause, breathe, and then connect with ourselves, to tune into our own presence as we go to be with our horses. And
Yes.
this is the first gifts that horses can give us.
Yes. Yes. And I've started, I have another blog that's going to be released this week, because I've started the blogging. And this blog is about heart coherence, and it's a part 1 of part 2 series. And I'm introducing what I know that there's been some a lot of posts recently in this past year about heart coherence with horses. And I've been studying the Heart Math Institute for years now, and I've mentioned it in quite a bit of my work, the Heart Math Institute, and all the beautiful work that they do and all their research. And they produced a lot of research with the horse's heart frequency, heart coherency years ago, and it's recirculating recently, and a lot of the Facebook posts. And one of what you're talking about too, this whole pausing when we get into the space of the horse, is about heart coherency and frequency, and an exchange of energy on a scientific level, a proven level. And if you tune in to pay attention to it, you'll feel that, and you will feel the positive effects of being heart coherent with your horse. And, my biggest journey in what I do as a horse trainer, and I can't stand using the word trainer, because I'm really about developing people and horses, developing the horse, developing us to our fullest potential. And I love performance. I love every kind of sport except barrel racing, sorry, and stadium jumping, but I love hunter pace. I love reining and working cattle, and sorting cattle, and dressage. And there's, oh my gosh, there's so many sports that I love with horses. And being a working equitation instructor myself, I love the technicality and complexity, nuances and harmony that dressage teaches us. But my question, my train of thought for everyone is, what is in the best interest of the horse when we go about these types of pursuits? When I go to work with my horses, my thought, just like it would be for my friendship, whether it's your friends, your family, your spouse, your partner, your children, any sentient being that I'm with, it's not just about me. How are they? How are they feeling in this interaction? And it's a tough one, because we're not responsible, AKA, we're not responsible for everybody, right? I don't own your emotions, but I can still learn how to be empathetic and compassionate and sympathize. And that's such a hard place for so many of us to be in. And that's what I'm asking us to do when we're with our horse, to come from a mindset of, where are you? Have you checked in with yourself? Have you done a scan? Where are you with where's your horse? Have you checked in with your horse? Have you done a scan? And if you both are having a crappy day, I promise you, if you learn how to do this, you can work together and have a beautiful day. Even if what you set out to do doesn't happen, the fact that you have this beautiful connection and level of communication, and you care about each other. And isn't that really all that matters, is love and how much you care and feeling like someone gives a damn about you? So it's the point I'll go to my grave. I've been told many times over and over in the last so many years, why don't you stop trying to change the world, and you'd be much better at counseling or just working with people and coaching, and just give up on the horse stuff, because you're not going to change anybody. You're not going to change. And I'm like, but there are so many people out there like us that do care, that do want to be able to ride the horse and not cause pain and not break the horse down, and hear their horse and feel as if they are wings on their horse, and the horse wants them there. But it's and it's how we go about it, and how what we take into that interaction with our horse that can change everything for the positive. And that's really what this message today in this podcast is all about. I have 8 core, I call them transcendental principles to horsemanship. They're also, the 8 principles to the horse human consciousness. How do we become conscious? As we talk about all the time, the 3 of us, whether we're together on this podcast or not, the horses have a level of consciousness. They have a level of awareness. I'm not talking about consciousness as far as their frontal lobe and getting into all of that. It goes beyond that. And we can take it as far as we want in a conversation. But the transcendental principles, transcending is a key word here in my work. And I never wanted to talk a lot about it when I first got back into horses. Like I said, I wanted to be more mainstream. I didn't want to bring, I was told, watch out for bringing spirituality into horsemanship, 15 plus years ago. People aren't ready for all that. And so I kept the Tao hidden kind of in the back, and I was quiet. And now, people are becoming are talking a lot more about consciousness with horses, and feeling better about their interactions with horses. And so here we go. Does anybody have anything to say before I dive in a little bit more?
I just did want to make one little comment about when you were saying that people had mentioned to you, well, why bother trying to create change? I mean, that to me is like beyond limiting belief, right? Like the change is the natural order of the universe. So you cannot even stop the process of the change of the universe. And we're all evolving. And those who choose not to be in that flow of change and transformation are the ones who make their lives more difficult, because they're going against the flow of the infinite energy of the universe. And on a functional level, we are here to be stewards of horses and the planet.
Yes. Yep. And the planet. Yes.
And horses are here to be our angels, to guide us and protect us. So of course it's natural to evolve a relationship with them. There's an expression that was going around the internet that one of the most dangerous words or expressions is, we've always done it that way.
Yes. Yes, I heard that. I have seen that post too. I've seen some conversations around that, especially in the traditional training, world with horses. Yeah, I think if I'll be a little bit more clear, I think the people that have said that to me were just more concerned about how hard it was going to be for me. That's all. That you're really up against a lot in the traditional world. Here you are, I'm not even merging unconventional teachings. Yes, I am. I am totally unconventional. So I guess I'm merging unconventional teachings with such a traditional mindset. And it's hard. And you all know that. I've talked about it often. I share that it's really challenging because
I think it's very important to not ever get a defeatist attitude when you work so hard on something so important.
well,
Like,
thank you.
yeah, stewardship. You know how I feel about stewardship, but also when I hold any animal in captivity, whether it's a horse, a falcon, a dog, or a cat, it's my responsibility to give them what they need because they're in captivity.
I
They are
know.
not free to find what they need. So that means when something happens to my horse and it's environmental and I can change it, I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's food, foot, or whatever, it could be spiritual needs, of just not feeling good.
I think
And
that
go
right
on.
there is the toughest for people that have to keep their horses and house them, at boarding facilities. That's the toughest, is you can't control how you would like your horse to be, their needs to be met. I mean, that's to me a harder change than just the training. I think it's the housing of our horses. To me, that's what I hear the horses crying out the loudest about, because they can't socialize, they can't form those healthy connections and bonds to emotionally, environmentally, mentally, which affects them physiologically, just like it does us. They can't maintain a healthy level of autonomy and an interdependence in a social bond, but autonomy from our shit, because they're just stuffed in these jail cells or these nasty ass pastures and paddocks and crap nobody cares
Or
about.
even when we think it's good, it might not be what that horse
Exactly.
needs.
Exactly.
Honestly, though, look at what happened to my Mustang since this spring and what he's been through. There was a bunch of he had never, and he's 16 years old. And he did really well with never. Now I can't get him out of the horse mats away from the fan because he thinks he's a luxury animal, right? I thought he'd never want to be stalled, and now I can't get him out of there. So for me, when you're working with the horse in this Tao way, then they start to understand and think for themselves, like the baby who cut his eye and just at first resistance until he figured out I was fixing something, and
Yes.
then he let me. They
Yes.
move into it, not away from
Yes.
it. So
Yes.
that when you start to communicate on this level, they start to understand what you have to do to him in captivity, and
But they
forget.
also have to be healed. Yes, they have to be thinking. That's the other huge thing, well, and one thing I want to say about coachees too, Lydia, is to me, we're always looking for balance. And whenever you see an extreme behavior in either us or our equines, there is an imbalance, there's a need. And so if you find that all of a sudden you can't get him out of something he never wanted to be a part of before, maybe he's finally in a healthy way, he's finally allowing his guard down to enjoy that luxury that he's never been able to enjoy until he doesn't feel that he needs that anymore. I don't know how
As
to
soon
put
as
it.
it got cold, then there's no flies, he's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, and they're
no.
smart too. It's like their air conditioning, right? With the fan on and keeps the flies away. I mean, they're not stupid. They know that's, I mean, my little wild Mustang that came to me a couple of years ago to Gentle, he preferred the stall 24/7. And he has access to the stall like a run-in to the pasture to 15 acres, and he'd rather be with me across my office, screaming, watching me through the doors, talking to me every time I come out. He wants to be right there. And what else do you have for me to eat? Like, get outside and go be a horse and go play, but
Go
yeah,
eat out there.
it's something when they have a choice and they feel safe and they feel emotionally balanced, they will self-regulate. Their everything will self-regulate. And that's why they're such amazing healers. they do so well in taking care of their own bodies, their own systems. Balance is key. Anybody have anything to say before I jump on to the next part?
Well, I'm
I want
excited.
to be careful how we use, how we talk about using horses as healers, because I think
That'll be
that's a
another
whole-
podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yes, we
I
talked
don't
about
think
that.
we get to use them as healers. We don't get to use horses at all.
Correct. I agree. That is very, yes, I agree. Yes, with respect.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Lydia.
I'm just looking forward to your transcending principles, because that's what change is, right? We're transcending, we're integrating the past, and we're all evolving and growing. We're no longer living in 1280. We have antibiotics and we have artificial intelligence. So why not continue to evolve and transcend? I call it moving beyond mindset.
Yes.
Right? Moving beyond
Oh,
mindset. We're always
I like
growing.
that.
So I'm looking forward to hearing.
Okay. All right, well, here we go. So right now, I'm going to read just a little bit of what I found on Google, just as a general definition for people that aren't quite sure what I'm talking about. So when I'm talking about my 8 transcendental principles of horsemanship, and horsemanship really is the art of riding. It's about learning how to ride. So I'm taking it to the next level of riding as one. And that's, a term I've been using for forever now. How do you ride as one with your horse? Emotionally and heart coherence. How do you ride with them in the mind and thought, so that you're thinking and feeling as one? Because you've got the heart. Now you're thinking as one, so you're thinking and feeling. And the third component is being able to move as one. And that is a teaching that I have within my big program, how to embody movement, so that you learn how to ride your horse's movement before you ride your horse. It is so important to develop yourself as a rider. And I am a bitch about this. First of all, you have to have permission to get on your horse. In my belief system, you don't get to ride until your horse gives you permission. Period, people. So you know what I call it? I call it rape. Anyone can stick their foot in a stirrup, grab hold of that saddle, have someone tie their horse or hold their horse and get on. But did your horse give you the right to get on them? Do they accept you? Do they want you? Do they give a shit about you? So you got to have permission to get on. And when you earn this level of respect, and you start with the heart, the relationship, and then you move into all the ways in practices to develop the mind, where you're thinking together and feeling together. And then you're going to learn how to move together, but you're going to learn this on the ground. So while you're going through this process, it is a spiritual journey. It is truly a spiritual journey, because of what you personally have to do to earn your horse's permission. But once you earn that, it's like, I don't know how to put it. The horse is always open. The horse is always waiting. The horse is always willing. The horse is always willing. And we don't see that. We see right past that, as if we take that for granted, and we abuse it. And we abuse it time and time again by making and taking and forcing without asking and earning trust, earning respect. And so the transcendental or the transcendent piece of all of this is the spiritual process. And over the course of my life, exploring, experiencing, experimenting with this in just my own life, as well as my interaction and relationship with my horses, I've developed these 8 steps. And so just the difference between transcendental meditation and regular meditation is what I want to talk briefly about. So how is transcendental meditation different than just regular meditation? Because a lot of people meditate. A lot of my students are master practitioners and teachers of meditation. And one of the things I have found when it comes to working with the horse on this level of consciousness is that it isn't about us anymore. That our level of personal meditation, whether it's in yoga or any form of meditation where we are alone, even if we're in a group of people and we're still sitting, if we're, whatever level of meditation or style of meditation, we may not be sitting, we may be lying down, we may be standing up. We're still egocentric in our meditation process, meaning you have a teacher, you have a thought process, you have specific exercises you're working on in that meditation with your breathing, your breath work, most likely, and your body and how you feel. So it's very specific and individualized, meaning how do we take that meditation and share it with another? And how do we take that level of meditation, not just share it, but connect it to another? And then how do we get feedback from that other, honest feedback from that other being, that level of sharing and connecting is really real and working? And that's where this transcendental meditation is going to take it further. And that is the biggest problem I have with my students that do a lot of this deep one-on-one with themselves or in a group meditation, where it's so egocentric. I don't know how else to put it. Everything changes when you're working with another being. And I've had some experiences, obviously, over the years with my students where we've had a one-on-one without the horse, where they have felt what I'm talking about. And that's in my intuitive workshop for women and horses. But to feel that feedback from a horse who is open and powerful, and their heart coherence is, 20 times stronger than ours, and they're clear and healthy, is just magical. There's nothing else like this feeling. And that's what I want everyone to experience. I want you to take that magical connection into every interaction you have with your horse, into all of your training, all of your development with your horse. And when you lose that level, that connection and that level of communication, that conversation with your horse in heart and mind and movement, when you lose it, that you're present enough to know it and stop and reconnect. Because without this level of connection, what is in it for the horse? What is in it for the horse? I'm going to be really crude, for lack of a better word, but I do say this in my one-on-one in-person work and in my clinics and workshops. It's like making love. When you make love with someone, you lose all track of time, space. You are so present in that moment, and your sensory aware is off the chart. What you smell, what you feel, what you taste, what you hear is just so heightened. And it is, I think we can all agree, it is one of the most magnificent, amazing, beautiful places to be ever when we're in love. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. I mean, haven't we all experienced those magical moments where you lose all sense of time? You're just gazing into each other's eyes, you're listening to each other, you're touching each other, you're smelling each other, tasting each other. I mean, well, I kiss my horses all the time. I eat dirt all the time. I smell them all the time. I touch them all the time. I see them all the time. I feel them all the time. How can you not hear them all the time? Where is that disconnect? Why?
How can you not know what they're saying? I don't get how people don't know what they're saying. I'm serious. They talk, we listen.
That there is a big disconnect. Can you think how much better our world would be if we treated each other like this? If we treated all living things like this?
I want to say a little something about the practice of transcendent and then just inwardly meditating, because I got a picture of, I've always had a really hard time praying with my eyes closed, because when I do, I go inward, and inward is self, and that is selfish. And when I meditate, I want to be open and exchanging energy with everything and transcending. So I don't necessarily have to have my eyes closed and go deep within to have this transcending experience with a horse, right? Like, it's about the awareness of the exchange of energy all the way through the ground and up. It's with everything. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think for me, it's just being present. Like when I'm grounding next to the horse and I'm teaching it, I can close my eyes, but I'm feeling them. We're touching them. So that's the connection through the senses that I can feel. I can hear them, I can feel them, but I don't need to see them to get into that space. And to me, that's a transcendental meditative space. The thing with the eyes is the eyes can play tricks on us. We have to be really careful when we attach ourselves to what we see all the time, because it can be a trigger. We can get attached to, we're not necessarily always present. There's finding that, again, that balance of practicing enough of the eyes shut and tuning into your senses so that when the eyes open, you don't get fixated on any one thing. And in the way we are hardwired as human beings first, and then predators second, because our brains are severely sophisticated and complicated, and not in a very healthy way at times, on a deep, psychiatric, psychological level, we have to be really careful what we look at. It plays games. It sends different messages to the brain, and we can get locked in, so to speak. So I'm really careful about what you just said. Like if I were teaching you how to meditate, I would ask you to close your eyes, and I would specifically ask you, like I do through the Taoist reverse breath work in my work, to really focus on what you feel and what you hear and what you smell and what's beneath your feet before you start allowing your eyes to open. But I'm not you, and I don't know how well practiced you are. So, that's just my experience. Lydia, do you have anything to say about that? I'm sure you do.
Me, Lydia?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yes. Well, I'm still looking forward to your 8 principles. I haven't away from them.
That's the first one.
But just
That's me.
Well, just a brief note about meditation or any personal development practice where we go within. The whole point of that is to live it, right? Like it's not meant to be something separate. It's not meant to be, oh, now it's about me and I'm going to connect with myself and then I'll go back to my old patterns. I think the whole point is to cultivate
Yes,
a frequency within yourself that you then carry into your daily life, and you become that which you were creating within your own state of meditation. And I find with horses, one of the easiest ways, or like a flow state of doing that, is I always thank my horses for being alive.
Aw.
I always thank them for coming to the planet. And I always say, thank you for having the courage to come to planet Earth. And even if I don't ride, and so you're the expert in all of these things, but even if there's some difficulty, with what you're doing with your horse, we can have immense gratitude for that experience with our horse. Thank you for trying today. And so this brings us into our heart and out of our head.
Yes.
Right. And it
Yes.
and it fills us with the energy that we have in meditation. That groundedness, that centeredness, but that expansiveness of being in the one. And so I never, ever, ever spend time with my horses, even if it's just for a few minutes doing chores, without thanking them for, thank you for coming to the planet. Thank you for shining your light. And as Lydia was saying, it's not about using horses for anything. They are just, by shining their light, they are just healing everyone, right? Like they're pillars of light, right? And so it doesn't matter how difficult an experience is with your horse. I always thank them. I always thank them for having the courage to come to planet Earth and putting up with us humans.
Yes. Yes. I totally am right there. I say that a lot too, thanking and loving them. I think in my experience, again, that's that crossing over to teaching technique, and training, is there's such a divide. Like, you're absolutely correct. Thank your horse all the time. Love your horse. But everyone forgets that when they're trying to accomplish something, like they're like in my world, being a trainer. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning of this podcast, how I've had some people over the years who care so much about me. It's been all out of love. Why don't you just stop trying to teach your method? Because, you're either, it's like I'm either here or I'm way over here, and I'm not. I'm trying to bridge the two. I'm trying to bridge what we're talking about. There doesn't have to be a disconnect of loving your horse and thanking your horse and working with your horse and training your horse. But there is. But the pain of it is there's a huge disconnect with horse ownership. I hate to use that word too, instead of stewardship, but people that have horses and want to learn things and want to train their horse, and we all do, but why is there a disconnect is the big question for me. There shouldn't be. And you are so right, Lydia. I've been aghast. I've been astounded at and I'm talking to all of you out there that have been current, former students of mine that are energy practitioners, that they have the heart. You make this so hard. You make this work so hard, and it doesn't need to be that hard. If it, like you just said, Lydia, if you're truly doing the work on yourself, which is beautiful, and you feel the energy work working, and you feel the meditation working, and you feel like you're transcending, then why isn't it working in your horsemanship? Why isn't it working? Where is the disconnect is the question I have. And
I want to say, you take it into everything you do. You can't go around with your eyes closed all the time.
yes.
Okay, now you get what I'm saying?
Well, Caroline, you're here to help us with that, though. This is one of your soul missions. You're a great conscious leader of our time to help us merge the worlds. We're in the middle of this exact, what you're describing is the exact paradigm shift that's happening on the planet in every way. And humans are remembering how to become one. You're teaching with your horse, but with yourself, with the animals. We're learning how to become one, whole and connected in a flow of unconditional love. And this is who we are in our essence. that it has been trained out of us over
Yes.
centuries.
Yes.
So it's a
Empathy and
struggle.
compassion has left us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all we've been taught, that the intellect is the supreme God, and that
Mhm.
I will tell my horse what to do. Well, my goodness, I pay for board, I pay for vet bills. The least he or she can do is do something for me. I mean, that is the intellect that has been reinforced as a way to try to have joy with your horse. I mean, it's like cognitive dissonance type thing, right? Like, and so we're merging the intellect and the mental, which we need, with the greatest power of the universe, which is our unconditional love and oneness of spirit with all. And this is new. It's not new in terms of who we are. We are already that. It's new in terms of being conscious of it.
Yeah.
And then how do we even go forward? And this is you, Caroline. This is where you are helping us bridge these states of consciousness, these states of awareness, and then moving forward as one. So I thank you for having the courage to unify that for us.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to get back to transcendental meditation and regular meditation and my 8 principles. So how is transcendental meditation different than regular meditation? In essence, there is one fundamental difference between TM, transcendental meditation, and other approaches. So most meditation aims to control or train the mind by a way of thinking. Here we go. Transcendence, on the other hand, involves no concentration, control, or training. Wow. That says it in a nutshell. So here we are, and I'm going to dive down this rabbit hole one more time before I break into the other stuff. Because my audience, most of them, like I said, practice meditation on some level or another. And it's through a lot of concentration. And that is traditionally how we are taught in our culture, in the American culture. But when you've been studying the Eastern way and the Eastern philosophy, it is not like that. It is not like that at all. And the only way, and maybe this is the way, I don't know, the only way I've learned, and it seems to work hands down, is through intuition. And honing in to intuition, the way I've learned and the way I teach through my work, is honing into your senses and into the somatic experience, what we feel, beginning with our heart, tuning into our heart, the heart coherency. And what do we feel? Whatever it is that we feel, we must tune into it and begin from there. And then again, tuning into the senses. And so that is a good segue into where I'm headed next with my 8 transcendental principles of horsemanship, because that gives everyone the mindset of where I'm coming from. You know, like, how can you teach the Poff, Caroline, without a bit, a bridle, or a saddle? I teach it through play. I teach it through developing my horse biomechanically to the point that they have enough strength and balance and self-carriage naturally through the work that I've developed naturally, not through aids, not through gimmicks, not through tie downs, not through force. So that not only are they technically biomechanically developing as a supreme athlete, we're now developing our union together, our oneness as a partnership through play. So if anybody's seen my crazy horse Lovey and me on YouTube, playing and rearing and doing all sorts of fun, crazy maneuvers, or my older Trinity when back in the day, all the cool things that we used to do together. how do you do simple lead changes? How do you get all of this collection in your movement? Well, you combine the two. You develop the athlete, your horse as an athlete, but you also develop the connection of energy and mind and heart coherence and relationship and friendship and fun and play, so that it's a spontaneous, joyful movement that people are using whips and firecrackers and all sorts of gimmicks to get their horses to display the torturous stuff. What do they call it? I know what it's called. I just can't think about it right now. I get so many horrible feeds through my Facebook news. Where they soar their feet, they soar them. The big lick. Yep. So, look, it's horrible.
Yeah,
Well,
it's an animal of total abuse.
It's disgusting. It doesn't even move naturally. Its body is so tortured. But I mean, that's an extreme. But when you see their tails are broken, when you see all sorts of show horses that they set their tails, they break their tail and then they set their tail. They do all sorts of horrific things to get a headset, whether it's high or low, depending on the discipline. The crookedness through the body, the kissing spine, the tremendous amount of scar tissue and joint on joint from the way that we are developing our horses through so much force without learning. I mean, why? It's such a level of abuse.
Because we're Neanderthal. Like, look what we do to our kids in football. Come on, like, wake up. I mean, we're doing it to our own species, not just the others, right?
Yeah, that blows my mind with a young child's brain that isn't even hard enough yet. And
but
they're playing football.
Is the pee-off when a horse stands up on one foot and turns 180, something like that? Is that what the pee-off is?
No, the pee-off is a trot in place.
Okay.
So it's a trot in place.
What is it when the horse can stand on one rear and completely turn around 180 and set down?
Well, there's the in reining, there's a rollback. That would be a rollback.
Yeah.
So they come kind of to a sliding stop, lift up the shoulder and turn. That would be.
Yeah, Cochise did that this morning, standing in place to come in to see me. Yeah, he did that to come in.
They're amazing.
He was so excited he did that. He was away from me and he turned around and yeah, it was like, and he's injured. He's injured. It was like, I was like, wow, okay.
I know they're like ballerinas.
They're amazing. So what's number one? What's number one?
Oh, number one. Yeah, okay. So all of this follows my work with the chakras. And so we're going to be talking about the 8 chakras, not just 7. And so the first one's going to be the root chakra, where all of the work begins, is at the root and at the center. And the first principle is we learn to be, we be. And so I'm going to run through these quickly and then I'll explain them. So they make more sense when I stack them and run through the order of them. First one that I teach is how to be. How do you be with your horse and how do you be within yourself? Just be, the essence of being. We be. The second is we feel. And they are in this order for a reason. So they don't follow the chronological order of the chakra system. They did it first and it didn't make sense because I was trying to follow the chronological order of the chakra system because I do teach it that way. But this way of becoming one with the horse doesn't evolve following the chakra system, but we will be using the chakra system. So we're going to start with the first chakra, believe it or not, and we be. The second is we're going to feel, and that is the second chakra, the sacral chakra. And each chakra has many qualities and many adjectives to describe the traits of each chakra. I'm going to be using specific traits that connect the horse and the human. So I won't be using all of them. So in the first chakra, we be, the second, we feel, the third, we begin to love. We cultivate love in the third. Actually, it's your fourth chakra, but the third level is we cultivate love. The third principle is we begin our love. But first, we must be. We need to center ourselves. Second, we must learn how to feel and open ourselves up to feeling. Then third, we are going to love. We're going to love together. We're going to nurture that. 4, we're going to learn how to speak and communicate. 5, we're going to learn how to see with our eyes. We can see many ways. We can see with our hands, we can see with our hearts, we can see with the way we feel energy, but we're going to see specifically in number 5 with our eyes. And number 6, we're going to unite. We're going to work on becoming one. In 7, we will do. We don't even begin doing until these principles are met, created and met, connected and functioning. Then we will do, because guess what? When we're ready to do, it will be easy and effortless. There will be no fighting. There will be no stress. And if there is a misunderstanding, a mistake, a confusion, we're talking, we're connected, we're communicating. So it doesn't blow up on us. Can you imagine how much better all of our relationships with each other would be, human to human? Number 8, we are one. So number 1, we be, it does begin with the first chakra, your root chakra. Number 2, we feel, it does begin with the sacral chakra, your second chakra. Number 3, we love. That is the fourth chakra. Number 4, we speak. That is your throat chakra. That's your fifth chakra. Number 5, we see. That is your third eye chakra. That is your seventh. Number 6, we unite. That is your crown chakra. That would be number 7. Not to confuse you guys. Number 7, we do. That's your solar plexus. That's your third chakra. And number 8, we are one. That is your 8th chakra, your soul star chakra. So you can see how the chakras are kind of all over the place. So I don't want to confuse you all, but I want you to make the connection with what chakra are we using?
They're always moving, aren't they?
Yeah, and in my work, I only teach you guys the first 4 chakras in my work because they're the sensory processing, sensory aware chakras. When we're talking about the transcendental and a way of being and connecting, we're going to use 8 chakras, the whole thing, but it's gonna move around. It's not going to be exactly in that order. And I tried it, but it always came back to how do we be together and not have any expectations? How do we allow ourselves to get to know each other without opinions, expectations, belief systems, anything? Can we just be and see each other for who we really are? Number 2, we feel. Once we can learn how to just disconnect in a healthy way from all these expectations of what it should be and just let it be, then we can move into how we feel about it. How does it feel? Damn, this feels really good. I feel at peace. I feel like I really feel you and not what I want you to feel or what I am feeling because I have these expectations. Most of us can't even get into number 2 because we hold on to so many belief systems and expectations and opinions about ourselves and about anyone or anything. So that's why number 1 is so important. How do we know how to be? And that is truly a meditative process of working on getting centered. And that's where the root chakra comes in, because it's all about centering, stilling, getting quiet, grounding, listening, tuning in through our senses and not our minds. Okay, Lydia, do you have anything to say?
Which Lydia? Me?
Yes, you.
No, I'm loving it. I'm 100% on board. I mean, it's a beautiful flow, and it doesn't matter if the chakras are in order. The chakras exist, not as a sequence, but onto themselves, right?
They are, but they definitely build on each other, and then they connect, and how do I want to say? It's like your chi power. Your chi power is, from what I know, I've come to understand, and not through textbooks, I've come to understand personally. My chi power is a combination of the power of 1, 2, 3, and 4 coming together. It's the power of those coming together. And it's not a mental power, it's an internal power. So to me, it kind of disconnects. It's just the first 4 chakras of that chi, that life vital force. So yeah, thank you. Number 3, we love. How can you love unconditionally if you're attached? How can we love anything unconditionally if we're attached to an expectation, an outcome, an opinion, a belief system, which is an understanding? So love, to me, really can't happen until we know how to just sit and be, and then we know how to just feel of another and feel for another, feel of and feel for another, feel of and feel for another. And then I think we have a much better chance of speaking our truth and speaking clearly when we're cleared of all this stuff that's in our head, And how many of us humans, obviously, that's who's listening, humans, how many of us spend our whole lives trying to clear the head, and clear our minds of all the shit that we've taken on, as children, with belief systems and behaviors and mindsets. We get to number 5, we start to see clearly. We start to really see clearly. And then everything just comes together, like the law of attraction. It comes together. That strength of energy that we've built with the other, within ourselves and with the other, attracts that energy, and it attracts all energy. And then we do, and we are one. So how do I bring this into my horsemanship? Number 1, I am connected to the earth. I am strong and I am stable. Number 2, I am compassionate. I feel of you and for you. Number 3, I am love. Therefore, my heart is open to love and to receive love. Number 4, which is speaking, I have a voice. Hear me, feel me, understand me. The same for your horse. Hear me, feel me, understand me. Number 5, I am connected to my higher power. My intuition is my guides. Number 5 would be your third eye chakra. It's not just your eyes. It's your intuition. Number 6, we unite, your crown chakra. I surrender and unite, and all flows through me. All flows through me. Everybody wants to learn how to be present with horses. Everybody wants to learn to be in the now. Do the Tao now and become one with your horse. But you've got to be present. And if we've got all this attachment, our heart is attached, our mind is attached, all this attachment. I think if there's one mantra I would focus on, and I certainly have done it, is I just want to puke up all this attachment and get rid of it. I just want to cut those strings and get rid of it. I don't want to sit there and ask the question, how do I get rid of it? How do I get rid of it? How do I get rid of it? I just want to get rid of it. Let it go. I don't want it anymore. It doesn't serve me anymore. Attachment doesn't serve. And I'm not talking about being detached or disassociative or, any dysfunctional, really psychotic behaviors. I'm not talking about that. And believe me, if anybody knows me, I've got strong boundaries. I'm quite outspoken, as you all know. I have no problem being a strong woman. So we're not talking about being a wallflower, and this is not some passive way of being through life, because I don't believe in that either. This is not a passive way of being through a life, but it could be passive leadership. It could be a whole different way of leading that isn't about dominating or controlling. You could use it in exemplary leadership. You could use it in a passive leadership position, and you could use it more in a partnership. What about partnership? Horses are more about partnership than they are anything. And how do we work together? How do you figure out how to harmonize with someone else? That's really tough. Number 7, I empower. My power is transformational. And that's your solar plexus. And that's your 3rd chakra. And that's the we do. We do. We do together. We are power. Our power is transformational. And number 8, we are one. We are in harmony, connected in heart, thought, and movement. So yeah. So, I mean, for all of us that want to teach our horse how to lead, how to do a lunging circle, how to load in a trailer, how to prepare your horse for trail riding. I want to start schooling my horse. Why can't we, connect to all of this in all of the technique and mechanics of everything we do? Why do we have to disconnect? That's the big question. Where is the disconnect for us in our horsemanship?
That was magnificent. I just loved every second of it. It's complete alignment with who I am and what I believe and what I like to share. And it's patience. We have to have patience with ourselves as we release the old imprints from the last 13,500 years. So it's kind of a big thing that we're doing.
That is a big thing. You're right. Patience is number 1. I'll say that for myself. That's been a big thing. Yeah.
It's patience. And then when people who, as you say, are well-meaning around you, like let's say you're trying to trail your horse and there are people who want to use their traditional techniques or whatever. And you have to, as you mentioned, be secure in your own state of being to hold that energy that you're talking about and know within yourself that this is the way forward that ultimately is faster and easier. But because we're in a paradigm shift that's going to go on for decades to come, then we have all come to the earth, including the horses, to live in these two worlds. And it's very challenging. This is why it's a challenging endeavor that you've been called to do. And it's only the strongest of the strong in the universe who can really bridge two worlds or two paradigms and start to merge and integrate. So patience and perseverance and non-attachment. When I have experiences at my farm with whoever it is that fundamentally disagrees with who I am, how I live, and how I honor my horses, I immediately go into my own presence and assess my own energy. I will not give that up for anybody, and I may not engage. It depends on the circumstances. So it's what I call the discerning and deflecting of energies that don't support us. So that's we discern how we're going to navigate. And this can happen throughout our day, with horses. And this is huge. You're teaching us, you're helping us how to release the old imprints and paradigms, embrace the new paradigm of light every day. It's really huge.
Yeah, you guys, it's I don't want to overwhelm anybody either. I don't want anybody to think this is possible or you've got to be perfect. One of the Nothing is perfect. That's a whole stupid mind trap or mind fuck. I'm going to put it out there that marketing, advertising, and God knows parenting has gotten into it. Be real, be authentic, be honest, be who you are. You have a shitty day, you have a shitty day. It's I mean, I don't know what to say.
I do.
Yes.
Being is easier than pretending.
It is.
Okay, so yeah, if you
But it
can
takes
let
a lot of
go
courage.
of old belief systems and old ideas and come up with the real truth, because energy never lies. There's the truth, and you can live by the truth, then there's a sense of peace. Even though the truth is quite ugly sometimes, right? There's still a way to be neutral about that in the way of being Tao, right? Like,
Yes.
the predator-prey relationship is ugly, it's fierce, it's rip and tear flesh, it's eating, drinking blood, that's not pretty, but it's part of nature, right? And so for me, I remember Lydia,
It's
our
the
guest,
duality. The
saying
duality
something
of
about
life.
cause and effect, right?
Mhm.
It's not about right or wrong or good or bad. If you can live without qualifying those things and just be in a place of neutrality, that's where it lives. That's where transcending is.
It's a careful one, though. Neutrality can also be misunderstood as being numb or being in a, I don't think that's what you're saying at all. It's not neutral, just means not being attached. It's just not being attached. So yeah, I mean, this is such a deep subject, and I
just try and go through your day without an opinion or a judgment about something. Try that for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're trying. So if we can take Caroline's 8 principles and we post them everywhere. Like that's what I do. I post them above my
vision board.
Yeah, I post them on my mirrors. Anything that I want to start to shift my awareness around that is challenging. And then I try during the day to
The first one.
Implement, to be aware. And then I don't beat myself up that, as you're saying, I wasn't perfect, because transformation is not perfect, right? This is a massive global paradigm shift, and we're talking about one aspect of it, which is part of the broader oneness, but and then honor yourself. And we're talking about gratitude earlier, but have gratitude for yourself and say, I tried that today.
Yes.
I tried the first 2 or 3 steps. I'm starting to get this idea of being before, doing, and I'm doing really great.
It feels really great. Yeah.
Because I'm trying.
It feel great.
I'm trying, and I'm going to become aware of it and more aware, and I'm going to keep implementing it. And then days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months. And suddenly you're doing really great.
Thank you for that. Thank you for making it easier, an easier process. And before we wrap up, because it's getting close to an hour and a half, believe it or not. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone. Think about holism. Think about the whole. And part of our rebranding is holistic horsemanship. We're here to address all levels of holism, what it feels like to feel good for the horse and for ourselves in this journey with our horses. And that should be the destination. That's kind of the map here, is everything you do with your horse. And I'm giving you 8 guiding principles to help, is to make you feel good, to make you and your horse feel good. So if we think more like that, and not like, I got to get this done, or it's got to be perfect, or I got to cross this off my list, or, if we just go in, because look, I'm I've got stuff to do. This is my life, right? I've got to teach lessons or develop courses or train horses, but I don't want to lose sight of this, what I'm talking about. And I know for a fact that when we keep these principles in our minds and in our hearts, in everything we do, everything is as easy and as joyful and as magical. It's even more magical than you could ever experience. You're like, God, I never thought rehabilitating a horse could be such a beautiful process for the horse, even when some things get really tough. It's the way in which we handle it and allow it. It's a beautiful process. So
You have to just slow down,
slow
right?
way down. Pause often and
That's what I
dwell
thought you were
often.
going to say. So I had to add it in. She always says, slow down.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh yeah. So thank you. Yeah, and we can always continue all of these. Lydia and I, hopefully every month the three of us will be doing this type of a podcast. Is long. I love it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's a true honor and pleasure. And we're all together creating the new paradigm of light. And it's challenging, but we're up for it.
Yeah.
We're
I
up
get
for
a
it.
smile on my face. Yes.
And that's why we're meant to come together to support each other in this.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, do our best to not judge. I mean, we do, right? But we're trying not to.
Try not to. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, and Lord knows I'm not perfect and I'm not making excuses for any of my behaviors, but I'll be the first one to beat myself up too. I'll be the first one to beat myself up.
Yeah, because we have high standards. We have high standards for ourselves. That's what I call high performance wellness. Is that it's our own standards for ourselves in the context of being healthy and whole. Mm-hmm. And we're all remembering that this is our true essence and that it's okay to share this now. And there may be some resistance, but who cares? To have that non-attachment and just keep going within. And as Caroline was saying earlier, and as I mentioned before, one of my favorite quotes is, ask not what your horse can do for you, but what you can do for your horse. And in so doing, you will have a fast track within yourself of incredible personal development and growth, creating lasting joy.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. I call that the path of least resistance.
Or hard work.
I call that the path of the journey of least resistance. How can you make anything, instead of hitting it and pushing it and fighting it, you take a different path.
It's created a bunch of hard work for me to do. Like I've gone to equine touch clinics. I've gone to, to really want to learn.
Yeah.
It's not just about sitting around and, to me, it's about learning the anatomy of my horse, how everything functions, the whole horse.
Yes.
That's how I found you in the first place.
Yep.
And you have a library that has the whole horse in it.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. I love the emerging science. I'm really addicted to Beck's Narn. I think I said her name correctly. I keep sharing her posts and a dissection of the horse's anatomy and all the horrifying things that we're finding out that we do to these horses by starting them way too young on a physical level. We haven't even talked about the emotional, right? She's just dealing with the physical, but thank God for all her dissections. And she's a dressage, trainer, educator. So she's, there's a lot more emerging, which is wonderful to educate all of us. I keep learning. I'm soaking up as much as I can and sharing as much as I can.
Doesn't matter where we're at on the path. It's a matter that we're on it, right?
Yes. And on it together. Gosh, I wouldn't want to do this alone. Forget it. It's lonely enough. Oh, thank you. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lydia, my co-host, and Lydia, our guest speaker. And I can't wait. I'm going to be buying your book because I don't have Kindle. I tried the Audible, like I can download things and listen to them, but Haven't figured out the technology with that, with the Kindle. I don't have a Kindle, but I'm going to wait to buy your book. So
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And all the proceeds go to a cancer charity in the UK. And it's a contribution to the horses to help shift the collective consciousness of humanity, and share our new awareness of who horses truly are and how we are so blessed that they're on the earth with us.
yes.
And we can co-create with them to create a better world.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. Mwah. All right. Well, thank you. All right. Well, stay tuned for October. We'll get something together. All right. Love you guys. Love to everybody. May you always be one with your horse. Peace. Bless everyone.